As the US wages war in Europe, Japan has been slowly expanding its empire. As a retaliation to America's oil embargo on the Japanese in an attempt to halt their aggression, Japan bombed Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. Shortly after FDR brought the US out of isolationism and into the fray of World War II, about 100,000 Japanese Americans were incarcerated into internment camps on February 19, 1942. Despite many being US citizens and being first generations, Japanese Americans were suspected of being loyal to their country, and as thus, xenophobia in the US rose. However, individuals such as Dorothy Lange stepped up to show Americans firsthand the treatment of the Japanese people in the camps by taking pictures of the conditions. By the time the camps ended 4 years later, many survivors told their ordeals. One such survivor, Aiko Yoshinaga, came out with her tale of survival many years later at the age of 92. This is her story.
We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day.
The year is 1941. Aiko Yoshinaga was attending high school her senior year in Los Angeles at the time when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. As xenophobia rose in the US, Aiko's studies would be disrupted, having her principal tell her that she could not graduate with her diploma because her people, the Japanese, bombed Pearl Harbor. Not too long after the bombing started, FDR announced Executive Order 9066 on February 19, 1942, issuing the incarceration of Japanese Americans into camps. Fearing that she would be separated from her boyfriend, Aiko eloped and later would be placed in the Manzanar, California camp with her boyfriend and his family, and her family would be located at Jerome, Arkansas. The Manzanar facility was so lackluster, she and other detainees would have to make a makeshift mattress with a canvas bag filled with straws. Aiko would later give birth to her first daughter in the camp. Sometime later, she received a letter from her family, which read,
Dearly beloved daughter, we have loved you and cared for you since you were born. We have always loved you and never stopped loving you, even when you left home, which is why we forgive you, sweetheart. But now we need you here. Your father has fallen gravely ill, and we fear he may not be long in this world, and he wishes to see his cherished daughter one last time. Please come back and honor your father's wishes. Love, your mother.
Moved by her family's letter, Aiko applied for camp transfer and was approved. She was going to see her family again with her newborn daughter. When Aiko got to Jerome camp, her father was being transported to the hospital and she followed. Upon arriving at the hospital, her family embraced her after being apart for what seemed like a lifetime and welcomed her daughter, an official part of the Yoshinaga family. The cheerful family reunion, however, would be short-lived. Soon after, her father succumbed to his illness and died at the age of 69. Her father was one of the approximated 1,800 people that did not live long enough to see their people freed from the camps. As World War II slowly wraps up, the US dropped the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945, effectively ending the war with Japan's surrender. On March 20th, 1946, the last camp was shut down and all Japanese Americans could return home. For many of their assets were seized by local governments, and that was an issue many had to deal with. For Aiko, she would become a political activist for the Japanese American redress movement, which changed perceptions of Asian immigrants. In 1988, Ronald Reagan would sign the Civil Liberties Act, which apologized for the internment and issued $20,000 to each survivor.
Yet no payment can make up for those lost years. So what is most important in this bill has less to do with property than with honor. For here we admit a wrong. Here we reaffirm our commitment as a nation to equal justice under the law.
In recent years, many, including Aiko, have alluded the Muslim registry proposal to what happened to Japanese Americans. The detaining of illegal immigrants and separating families could also be seen as a parallel to the camps. Whatever the case may be, America must learn from these lessons. For those who do not learn history are doomed to repeat it.